Raghavita ji, we must reach this out to every single Giant member so that they realize that the pioneers and the founders of Giant didn't just create a social service organization, but the amount of thought process in it has to be brought to light and has to be taken forward. My only assurance to you is, yes, we have launched this book here today, but we will have one big mega launch where we will call Mr. Ribeiro again, and I think that when we launch that book, it should go out to non-Giants members also who come to know about the movement and who join us. So, huge round of applause to the entire team. And I think if it wasn't for my father's vision, this organization wouldn't have grown so much. I only hope that we can spread this message and make it grow much, much larger and make it into a much bigger family. Thank you. Shall I do it? Yes. May I request Mr. Rajesh, please?
We shall dispense with the mic, don't mind, because we have discovered that the coziness of these precincts is not adequately matched by the modernity of its equipment. And therefore, we will communicate with each other as we without this assistance. Now, the chief, it may not have escaped your attention, ladies and gentlemen. By the way, I wanted to address you as Giant, but I made a fool of myself by asking him whether the ladies should be addressed as Giantess, and I was swiftly reprimanded. In fact, he had a few thoughts about whether I should have been the speaker at all. So I will just say, ladies and gentlemen, it may not have escaped your attention that the chief penalty that an audience must pay on such occasions for the enviable privilege of participation is to have to suffer at times for inordinate lengths, which I shall try to curtail, individuals who are observably case-hardened with letters and allegedly possessed of literary merit. On such occasions, the audience feels an air of polite interest, often reverence, while those on the dais attempt to look virtuous and knowledgeable. Both pretenses sit uneasily upon either shoulder, and I shall hope to dispense with the same. I will therefore begin on a slightly different note by first expressing my fascination with those on the dais. This had proved difficult to handle until I realized that she is Mr. Chudasama's daughter. Because I wanted to express fascination for the three of them, and I said, how can I possibly leave out such an enchanting looking lady? But that problem now solved. Mr. Chudasama, I haven't met you, but when I was very young, somebody had handed me a book which was full of very nice tales about Chudasama Rajputs. Now, I would not have associated this with the Rajput name, but I am certain it's a Rajput surname, because I remember reading this and it had stuck in my mind. So, there was always an interest in looking forward to see whether you really look like one of the people doing this thing. Okay. So, that has certainly been my fascination, and of course I have seen other things about you, very, very endearing. Next, Mr. Rebello, of course I always looked up to him because my father was a government officer, retired secretary to government, is no more, but he used to speak admiringly of Mr. Rebello, and of course one always has a fascination for someone who has met a lot of characters against whom you wouldn't like to come across, especially if you are alone traveling down a lonely lane, especially on a moonless night. And he seems to have survived not only many such characters in Mumbai, but during his stint in the Punjab, I believe there were chaps who leapt over the wall and took a pot shot at him, but he survived. And certainly it's very nice to be in the company of a living legend like this. Now, coming to my very dear friend, Mr. Narayan Verma, let me tell you that there is no head mark by which men like him can be recognized, and it is only their true worth is revealed only to those who come in contact with them through close professional or other associations. Excellence such as what this gentleman possesses is neither reached nor maintained except by a life devoted, dedicated labor. And its true measure and worth is not the pecuniary rewards that he may receive in life or the acknowledgement of his lay clients, but that most unpurchasable of all accolades, which is the recognition by those in his calling. He is, and I am not overstating the case, a doyen of the accounting profession. If he did not have that kind of moral authority, apart from his very large professional following, he is virtually all in all of an organization known as Bombay Chartered Accountants Society, which today is the true repository of all that chartered accountancy should be representing, but unfortunately does not. But we will not stray from the subject except to reconfirm that he is in that position. It was only thanks to him that I really undertook that task. To what extent I have discharged it, only time can tell. I can only recommend to you that while the other pieces in that book are delectable, mine can certainly be used as a soporific. If any of you have problems sleeping, I recommend offering it at any stage. No, but jokes apart, this was very entertaining. The moment I saw what your acronym stands for, we met in the Wellington Club, and I said generosity, integrity, action, nobility. I said I am reminded, joke, of an old British lady who was hiring a butler from another regiment. She asked him for reference. He said easy, generous, honest, action-oriented, noble, and truthful, and giving service. The other lady promptly answered, "Madam, had he even half the virtues you mention, I would have married him." So I thought this was a tall order until I came into this room and realized what a warm and well-knit assemblage you have here. And then I realized that what he set out on, like all his ideas, was not just idealistic, but it was also very pragmatic. Yes, it was certainly a startling moment when he said, "Will you write upon integrity?" There are many people in the accounting world who have a mistaken notion that I may be regarded as not only some sort of a citadel, but a gentleman who may have actually sacrificed himself